Hi there. So, a while back, I created a program called Behind the Reel, and it broke down all of the components needed at the time to make reels. The problem with doing something in an app that constantly gets updates and changes means that all of that information becomes very obsolete very quickly. So, with that being said, I no longer sell Behind the Reel, but there are a lot of videos within it that are still really relevant today. And I want to make those available to people for free on this channel. Some of these videos are just the evergreen ones that it really doesn't change. It's the basics of creating reels, it's TikToks, things like that, that you can use whenever you are creating video content. So this video is all from Behind the Reel, and it's going to help you to master the basics of making reels. So before we jump into it, be sure to follow this channel, like the video, and subscribe. Turn on that bell for notifications too, because it will help us to gain more traction and to be able to help more people do social media in a mindful way.
In order to expand your reach on Instagram, you're always going to want to use the best practices. So that does include using hashtags, that includes using keywords, and it includes using topics, especially for reels. This is a new thing, the topics are new, and it's really important to use them in order to make sure that your post you're doing everything you can to get it as far as you possibly can. You put work into this, you don't want it to flop. The first thing is hashtags. These have been around on Instagram for a long time. You can use up to 30 hashtags on Instagram. I recommend finding enough that are really poignant to the point of your post, that they really talk about what is happening in your post and not just adding a whole bunch of filler and fluff ones that don't necessarily go along with it. That won't help your reach, but ones that really support it. If you're doing a specific type of yoga, if you're going to be able to reach the people who really want to learn more about Kundalini yoga, if you're doing something with like lymphatic drainage versus just holistic skincare. Maybe you would still want to use holistic skincare. It kind of depends on what the topic of the reel is, but zeroing in on those really specific hashtags for your post is going to do more. The other thing is that some people will put it in the comments versus in the caption. It makes it a little bit cleaner, but I'm going to tell you, Instagram has said that it does increase your reach to have hashtags in the caption. So you don't want to put them in the comments. You know, kind of separating them is a really good plan, where you use some periods or some little divider type of things just to give it a clean break from the hashtag cloud to the rest of the post. But do put your hashtags in the caption. Instagram has added topics. So when you go to share your reel, you now have this option to add topics. I'm going to go ahead and click on it. And now you can see that this is a new feature. I'm not sure. I'm kind of guessing that in the future, they might add some additional topics that reels will be about. But there are already some preset ones here that you can choose from. You can choose up to 3. And again, I would say choose the ones that are most relevant to the reel you are posting, not just to your business, not to the topics that you cover, but to that reel itself. So if I was making one about dogs in the water, I would, select dogs. I would, maybe choose funny animals. Then you would just select done. And you know that those are there. You don't have to select 3. If there's only one that's relevant to what you're posting, then just select the one that's relevant to what you're posting. Instagram has started to work towards an SEO-based searchability for words in posts. So what it does is when you are searching on Instagram, instead of just having to search hashtags like we used to, now we can search for things like funny dog videos. And now you can see that it comes up and it's going to bring us up funny dog videos. Instagram is pulling the words that you're using in your caption to know what you're posting about. So when you're writing your caption, you're going to want to include words that support the video that you're posting. Finding words that really you want to stand out for is a great way to make it a little bit easier to write your captions that align. So if you are always talking about, 5 different things in your content pillars, you're going to want to make sure that those 5 words continue to come up again and again and again in your written captions on Instagram. The more you're able to incorporate keywords like you would on a website, the better you're going to be able to do to show up for the people that you're looking to connect with. Using green screen is a great way to incorporate your face while you're showcasing something that you're talking about. You've probably seen it before when you're scrolling Instagram Reels and you're like, I don't really understand how they did it. So this is going to walk you through how to use green screen to create effective Reels. So we're going to create a Reel. And once we get into the Instagram app, we're going to click on effects. Now we're going to go ahead and search, clicking the little magnifying glass, and we're going to search green screen. Generally, I choose just the standard green screen one here, but of course, play around and find if there's one that works better for you. So I'm going to go ahead and now I'm going to tap the video so that it brings me into it. Now you'll see above where it has the little green screen effect at the bottom, you can go ahead and click above it where it says add media. Now I'm going to go ahead and choose something that I want to talk about. You can use this if you wanted to make yourself be in front of a store, in front of your store. If you want to be in front of an article that was published and you want to be talking about this article. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to bring up this recipe for mac and cheese behind me because it's almost Thanksgiving and this is what people are talking about. Now, if I want to make it so that I'm not blocking the entire recipe, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to just pinch myself, just like you do with a, zoom in or zoom out. I'm going to make myself smaller. And now I can go ahead and I can move myself around to make it so that I fit within the screen. So I'm going to come and maybe I'll put myself over here because you do also want to be thinking about what is going to be happening on the screen. Remember, we always have those, the like, the save, the shares over in this corner. So I don't want to be covered up by those. So I'm going to put myself over here. I can kind of position myself. I want to come to this side of the screen instead of this side of the screen. So I don't have that window. So I have the full shoulder and then I can go ahead. I'm just going to go ahead like I normally do. I'm going to click the button in the bottom middle of the screen and it's going to allow me to start recording. So now I can sit here and go, have you seen this? Oh my gosh, mac and cheese for Thanksgiving. I knew that I was missing something when I lived in the Midwest. And then you can go ahead, talk about it. You don't need to continue using this for all of your next videos. So if you only wanted it to be up for a portion of the video, now you're going to click the next button like you would, and we're going to click edit clips, and then you can go ahead and add in something new. Put in a new one. So now if I don't want the green screen, I just go back into the effects and it allows me to, if it's selected, it'll be there. If I unselect it, it'll be gone. So now I can come back in here and now I can record a reel like I normally would, talking blah, 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 and it's going to show up. So now you can see I have the first one. I need to start recording. So now I can sit here and go, have you seen this? Oh my gosh, mac and cheese for Thanksgiving. I knew that I was missing in the Midwest. Now I can record a reel like I normally would, talking and we just start recording now. So that's really how you can use the green screen. It's great if you're trying to showcase articles, if you're trying to showcase a product, if you're wanting to stand in front of your business location, if you are wanting to just be involved in not utilizing the dual cameras. This is going to be your best way to do it. So it's a really fun tool. It's a really powerful tool. Definitely play around with the green screen. Sometimes we see those videos on Instagram that it looks like somebody just spent hours putting together all of these little clips or all these little photos to the beat of the music. And you're like, how on earth did they do that? They're so good. They're so talented. No, they're using tools. And they're right within the Instagram app. So today I'm going to show you how to use templates when you are creating Reels. You're going to come into your app like you would any other time. You're going to click the button on the upper right hand corner, the little plus sign, to create a Reel. Once you get in here, you open up to your screen, this looks very familiar now, and you can create your reel, but at the very bottom, it says templates. So we're gonna toggle over and select templates instead. And now all of these videos pop up that are pre-done by Instagram, and you're gonna be able to choose from them. So I'm going to swipe over to one that I was just playing with. I'm gonna show you this one first. This is a great example of just making a reel with photos. All you need to do is select your photos, and it's gonna put it together to that music. That's gonna be quick and poppy and fun, exciting. It's definitely a little bit different than just a standard photo. This one is also a great reel that showcases areas with videos, things like that. So really, I encourage you to start, instead of just taking photos, start to take videos when you're, in your workspace, when you are working with a client, when you're doing whatever you do in your day-to-day life. Take little tiny videos. They don't have to be exciting. They don't have to be everything, but when you put them together, they make for a much more exciting video. So right now, I'm going to select Use Template. And now we can see that it gives me just all of these little boxes down here with seconds in it. So 1.8 seconds, 0.8 seconds, 0.9 seconds, 1 second. And we're just going to go ahead. We're going to click into the first box and scroll to your phone. I'm going to use photos from that wine and cheese night that we did recently. And I'm just going to kind of think about two different things. How would the video most likely flow? For a video like this, I would say you would start at the beginning of the night and work towards the end of the night. That makes sense. But if it's, just products or something like that, you don't have to worry about that as much. So just think about it when you're selecting them, what you want to do. You don't have to select all 12 of them. If you only select 6, it will make the video with just 6 videos. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go through the photos and videos that I have from that night and just kind of upload them where I think it would make sense. And then Instagram is going to trim them to be 1.8 seconds long, 0.9 seconds long. So even if my video is a little bit longer, if it's a 2-second video in a 1-second slot, it's just fine. You don't have to be precise. Instagram will take care of it for you. Once I've selected all the videos that I want to put together for this, I'm going to click that arrow on the bottom right-hand corner and see what it puts together. So then if I wanted to add more to this, I would click the next button. And I could go ahead, I could add text, I could add GIFs, I could add any of the things that I would want to add to this video, and it will be ready to go. You can't change the music in templates, but as long as you pick one that the song kind of meets the needs of your reel, it'll be just fine. These are things that make your life easier, so it's not really worth overthinking them, overcomplicating them. It's something to just put out there, to make something that you're proud of, and to increase your engagement. So in order to upload your own personal brand fonts, you're going to want to have a document saved in your phone, maybe in your favorites folder, maybe you have a business folder set up that includes all of the colors that you use in your branding for your phone. Make something in Canva with this. It can be your logo if it has everything in there. Personally, I have a little document that I've just exported from my computer, put it onto my phone, and it has all of my hex codes as well as the color swatches there. What you're going to do is you're going to come over to your reel and you're going to, where you're editing it, where it says edit clips, you can just click that little plus sign. And now it gives us the ability to add additional content. So I'm going to click into this. I'm going to select my composition of brand colors. I'm just going to click to add. Now, if you don't have a lot of time left in your video, if you're making a 60-second reel and that's all you have, this can be a little bit of a trick. So generally what I'll recommend is maybe don't put that last video in place quite yet. Start it, do this in the middle, and then finish adding the additional videos later. But otherwise, you can go ahead and adjust that clip when you upload it. Go ahead and edit the clips now. I'm gonna delete that one that I accidentally just did. And here, you can go ahead and trim this up. If you only need it to be a few seconds long, just long enough to grab the colors. For this, I'm gonna give myself a little bit more time. So we'll click. So now you can see all 3 clips are there. But so now I want to make this black and white color something that is branded for me. So I'm going to let the video play until I get to that last screen. And I'm going to pause it here. I'm going to click into the text. Now that I'm clicked into the text, I'm going to click into the color wheel up top, and I am going to click the eyedropper on the bottom left-hand corner. Now it's going to allow me to choose any of the colors that are here. I'm just going to keep moving this around until I find the one that I want. I'm going to go ahead and use my blush color. And I am going to go ahead and re-hit that background because I know that that's how I'm going to want it to look, is to have the background pop out, not just the text. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit play again. So now you can see that you're able to play with it. It is a little bit tricky, and it's definitely something that you're going to want to play with. So once it pops back up, I'm going to go ahead and click that eyedropper. Let's try the orange here. You can see, okay, maybe that's the one that I like. Maybe that's the one that stands out to me. And then we can click done and use the text like you normally would. So this is a great way. Next thing that I would do is just come back in and click edit clips. I would come back in here and I would delete that so that way that doesn't pop up and your branding colors are now inside of your reel. The first way that you're going to be able to share is basically where you're sharing it to. You can either share it to your feed or you can not share it to your feed. So it does show up differently on your profile on Instagram. When you're creating your reel, you will see this button here, this toggle switch where you can also share to feed. If you click also share to feed, this is going to show up in your regular profile grid on Instagram, or it is also going to, so I'm going to go here to show you, it's going to show up in this grid as well as in your Reels grid. If you don't want it to show up there, also sometimes if you're troubleshooting, if your Reels aren't getting the reach that you're used to, what this does when you also share it to your feed is it makes it so Instagram shows it to your audience first. If you're having a bit of low engagement within your audience, sometimes you might want to try taking off that toggle switch to not share it necessarily to your feed and to your audience. So that way Instagram shares it to strangers first, basically. And we all know that strangers always are a lot more supportive than our own audiences sometimes, especially people who are close to us, unfortunately. Another important way to share your reel is to share it to your stories. So once you have a reel posted, you're going to want to come to this little arrow here, and you're going to want to add the reel to your story. Once you put it here, you're going to be able to get views from the people who see it in your story, as well as views from people who see it on your timeline or just on Instagram. So this does help to increase your reach. If you're going through, again, a time of low reach with your reels, it happens to everybody. It's nothing to worry about, but it is something to kind of work past and figure out. So this is a great way to do it. And also I just say that this is a really good way to make sure that your audience is seeing your reels that you've put time and effort into, because some people who look at stories don't really look at a feed as much, or some people who look at a feed don't look at stories as much. So this way you're able to show what you're doing and what you're not doing. I'm gonna give you a little pro tip to make this a little bit prettier though too, because you see how boring this background looks with I tried to give it a plain background as you would want for a reel, but it kind of makes it really beige and boring, and nobody wants beige and boring. So in order to change that, I'm going to come up here to the little squiggly line on the upper right hand corner, and now I'm going to select one of the colors. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to press and hold that background, and then it's just going to pop everything up pink. I'm going to click done up in the upper right hand corner. And now I have something that's a little bit more branded, a little bit more Soultivity Studio than that awful beige. It pops it out a little bit more. You can add additional text in your stories. That's a whole different ballgame, but I did want to give you that little tip for making your reels pop a little bit more in your stories. Downloading your reels and repurposing them across different platforms is a great way to show up in more places, expand your reach without having to create more content. But pretty much all platforms prefer it if it doesn't show up with an Instagram watermark on it. The same is true if you make something in TikTok and want to move it over to Instagram or any of the other platforms, Shorts, Idea Pins. All of the different platforms pretty much have a way that short format video can show up on them these days. And if you're using Reels already on Instagram, repurposing them on Facebook, repurposing them on TikTok, repurposing them on YouTube, Pinterest, any of the platforms that you're showing up on is a really great idea. So in order to make sure that we're making all of the platforms happy, I'm going to show you how to download your Instagram Reels without the watermark on them. I'm just going to select one of my Reels. I'm going to click right into this reel. I'm going to click the three dots, and I'm going to choose the link button. Now the link is copied to my clipboard. I'm just going to scroll out of the Instagram app and into Safari. Here I'm going to go to igram.io. There are a lot of other ones out there that work just as well. Personally, I don't recommend any apps. I have only found that websites have a much higher success rate of doing the job every single time. I will say they all look kind of sketchy. They all have ads, they all have things going on. I've never had an issue, especially I use igram.io for all of my clients, my personal needs. So that's what I'm going to recommend right now. I will continue to update the links down below for any additional ones. There's also Snaptic. If you're creating TikTok, that's the one that I recommend to move your videos out of TikTok and onto other platforms without the watermark. So now I'm just going to come over here. I'm going to click Insert Instagram Link. I'm going to just click into it. It'll give me the option to paste. And now we'll click the download button. So give it just a minute. Again, it just looks kind of sketchy. I don't know why, but okay. So here we have download MP4. So now I want to allow it to download, and you see that it's working up there, that little down arrow. So give it just a moment to think and to go through everything. Once it's complete, you're going to click that blue arrow. This is from an Apple device. From an Android, it is very similar, but I don't have an Android device to show that from. You're going to click Downloads. You'll just see one there. You'll click onto that, and now you're going to click the little square button at the bottom with the arrow, and you're going to be able to send it to people. You can save the video. That will save it to your camera roll, and you're going to be able to then repurpose it wherever you need it. See that this was just added to our camera roll. It's still got all of the text, but without the Instagram trademarks.